It's 11:02. We'll begin this regular meeting of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners. First off, let's have everyone silence or turn off cell phones, please. Then we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alright, start off with the approval of the agenda. We do have a little detail to change there. So I would ask that we make the motion to approve the agenda, but removing, on the condition we remove agenda item number 2.
I move to approve the agenda, having removed item number 2.
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
If I may, Chair, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The only thing I would note too is item number 4, we're not gonna be proceeding with the request for approval of that agreement today. We would like to still have this on the agenda, but the agreement's not ready to present to you yet, so we would be asking you to schedule a special meeting. I hope we can fit one in next Tuesday if possible around the work sessions or something to present that to you for approval.
Okay, in my notes I had pending legal review was number 4. Do we just wanna table that?
It still needs
More than that? Okay.
But Michael is here as well as Amy with Oakwood, I guess Jackie's back there too, so we'll give an update on the status of that, but it's just not ready to present to you today.
Okay.
Next Tuesday, just as a meeting last, but maybe and it needs to be in the morning if possible. Okay.
Alright. So then, are we changing that, or we're just gonna table that when we get to it?
Well, we'll give an
We're gonna
update
have a
on it.
conversation.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
We just won't vote.
Okay, so voting on the approval of the agenda with the removal of agenda item number 2?
Aye.
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 Alright. Okay, community information items. We had a really productive meeting with Chaffey County Board of County Commissioners yesterday in the spirit of enhanced collaboration with our neighbors to the south. Aside from Chaffey County having excellent boardroom facilities that make me a little bit jealous, we actually did connect on a lot of good topics. Some of the things that jumped out at me were, as we see shrinking support from state and federal levels, there's room and probably opportunities to partner with these guys, with Chaffey County, on certain services that are duplicated in other areas like recreation, and try to help, kind of prop each other up in areas where we need. Economic development was another big one. We had some good conversations about their wildfire plans, things of that nature. So just wanted to update the community that we are working together with those guys to come up with some really good ideas. That's all that I have for community updates at the moment.
Well, since our meeting about Dutch Henry, I called ACA and I was looking for the guy's name, I can't find him, but he's their president of sales and community outreach, and he said he would donate all the culverts that we need. And he has concrete culverts that are 5 feet in diameter, and they have 1,000 feet. I guess it's a recycled product.
Sweet.
It's huge.
And so I asked him for some help on the roads and also some material for that project, and they said absolutely. Details to work out later, but he did commit to donating as much of that as we need. So if you need any of it anywhere else, I guess you have to grout the seams or something, but, they're looking to get rid of it. It came from some project and it's all in great shape, so
Cool, Matt.
Nice.
I did something.
That's freaking awesome.
You always do stuff.
Yeah.
Well, are they gonna need us to move those at some point? Cause it's gonna take us a minute to get ready for that installation.
They'll store them for us for now and they'll bring them to us. We just have to unload them with probably a big excavator. We have a big excavator.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's ready to go.
Nice, Matt. That's exciting. Okay, we're just gonna bob through a few things. Number one is that on the 28th, we'll be having a work session with Ski Cooper Board. And reminder to please submit feedback about Ski Cooper, ideally before that. The community cleanup is happening on the 9th of June, and if anybody wants to join me, I'll be cleaning Highway 24 by the sanitation. And then, anyone who has old smartphones, the victim service office is having a campaign where you can just bring those in, cause they're hard to recycle, bring those in and they get wiped of all of your personal information and they can be used for victim services, so people in situations where they need to have their own phone but don't have access to their own phone, they can use donated phones. And then also, I had a great chat with the intermediate school art teacher that we're gonna be bringing some of the kids' art into the hallway this summer. But if other people have art they wanna put in the hallway for folks who are coming through this summer to see, please contact me. We're also getting this really cool miniature replica of one of the mines that are photographed out in our hallway. There's gonna be, somebody did a beautiful replica that's gonna be featured out in the hallway too. And then for Pride, we need volunteers for the drag show. We need 6 ushers for the Tabor Opera House to help with the drag show. That'll be on the 7th of June. And then we need from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And then we need 6 volunteers to help with the Pride Parade to keep people from driving on to Harrison. And then last but not least, I had a great chat with the Bright Start board last week. A lot of their funding has been cut. I feel like it'd be great to get kind of like a state of childcare from the Child Care Coalition, from Bright Start, etc. in front of us, just because it's one of our priorities. I thought it'd be good to like hear from everybody what's going on, what the environment is, so we understand what they're facing. Just an idea. Okay, that's all from me.
Okay, a quick note for the public that meeting recordings are available. A reminder that all regular meetings and now all work sessions as well are recorded and available on the Lake County Government YouTube channel with transcribed and indexed videos. Another improvement. Recordings can be watched at a time that's best for you. Subscribe to stay informed on county decisions. At this time, we will take public comment. Public comment is available for residents wishing to speak on an agenda item or another issue not on the agenda. To make public comment, residents may request to speak by raising your hand in person or using the raise hand feature in Zoom, and or sending a message in the chat. Chair will call on the public in order. Comment is limited to 3 minutes, not including board questions. Action, if required, will be assigned to county staff. The chair may also ask that public comment on specific agenda items be held for later in the meeting. In certain instances, public comment will not be accepted, such as on public hearing items that are noted on the agenda. Let's go ahead and start with everyone in the room. Does anyone Go ahead, Tina, please state your address and your name.
So Tina Takansky, 618 West State Street. As you can see, I've got my new shirt that I'm Toxic Tina. It's been presented that the board, amongst others, are accusing me of being toxic. I'm suing again, which is not true. I presented a notice of claim to put you on notice that there is issues with the accounting and stuff, so I've suggested a forensic audit. You guys have failed to answer, respond to my question, okay? Then, according to the letters that I sent you from the county attorney, with you guys agreeing, it's allowing that type of behavior of being threatened, bullied, in order to get people to shut up. I'm not gonna shut up because I honestly have facts that there's things wrong. And I wouldn't be called Toxic Tina if people aren't afraid of what I've done. Let's see, you guys aren't doing what's in the best interest of the public, because the group has come together to ask many questions, and we don't get it. And so if things are so good here, then why don't you guys just say, hey, you're off, this isn't true. It's like, I don't work like that, it's like, I've been in government, and I know, both of yous, we sat and we talked, when yous were running, and I expressed concerns. And now it's like, no, we don't care what you have to say, we're agreeing with everybody else that's in this area. So it's like, be upfront, be honest, that's all I ask. But at least give me the pleasure of having a meeting with all of you guys to present the facts, okay? Then another thing on your resolution 2025, -20, you guys are missing a statute. I'm here to tell you, if you go ahead and allow the county manager as a signature on your accounts, you guys are violating statute. It's right here. The statute says 30-25-110, 1-3, and I'll give you copies. But it says, such warrant, which would be checks or order, shall be signed by the chairperson of the board and attested by the county clerk and recorder. That has been policy. So the statutes that are cited in your resolution, those don't pertain to this. And the only one that you can actually designate would be your treasurer, by telling him that he could do an electronic transfer. So I mean, I'm just here to tell you, this is what I know. I'm not trying to sit here and cause problems, but I know, and it's like, let's come together and figure this out. I'm not out to get any of this, but I'm here to protect the public, because we've been lied to so many times. And it's like, I thought I could come to you guys, because you showed great concern. And now it's like, blow her off, she's toxic. So,
No one's blowing anyone off. We do respond to emails. Sometimes it takes longer than we'd like because there's an incredibly huge amount of stuff we're trying to sort through, wade through. So, I do wanna be, I'll disagree with you on that. We do answer the emails. I just wish we could do it faster sometimes.
okay, so I have a question, because before Candace was a county manager, I submitted through your website, your form, wanting a meeting. This notice of claim, that was a meeting to get all of us to come together. And I never got a response from any of you guys, nor your county attorney, or your county manager. So it's like, you may have addressed some of them, which, yeah, I see, you agreeing with the county attorney that it was okay for this frivolous complaint. Well, 33 pages of documents is not a frivolous claim. So I mean, it's like, what are we gonna do? I'll present it to you, but just sit here and listen to us. Don't blow us off like you have the Harrison Field. We were supposed to have a town meeting. I watched it. Everybody's sitting back here. So why did you guys not to do it? You were supposed to get back with us.
Before I let staff chime in, again, no one's blowing anyone off. Just because things aren't happening as fast as you guys want them to, does not mean we're not doing anything. You know, everyone has their preferred subjects that they want addressed right away. Unfortunately, that's not within our bandwidth and our capabilities to cater to each person's specific items they want addressed right away. Even within what you would maybe consider a timely fashion. And I'll apologize, it's just how things are working.
Well, I
It
think
takes longer
6
than we'd
months or since
We haven't even been in here 6
January.
months.
We've been asking prior. I mean, it's like I say, it ain't gonna go anywhere, and it's our money that is paying your guys' wages. So, you know, when the money's not around, then so be it.
Would any staff like to address this?
The only thing for point 30, I would note that, Mr. Kansas knows claim was received and by code, the county is allowed 90 days to respond. Her notice is being processed by the county attorney's office and will respond in due time.
Well, like I say, I'm just saying, it's like I'm not here to cause trouble, but it's like the public needs to know, we need to know how we stand as far as money and what's going out, what's coming in.
It's all public knowledge,
Yeah.
it's all available. Who else would like to have public comment? Anyone else in the room? Go ahead, state your name and your address, Max.
Max Cohen, Eagles Nest. I feel like I have to clarify a little bit here. The frivolous complaint that's being talked about is the county attorney's attempt to claim that public advocacy is in fact reaching the malicious standard of slander, which it's not. It has this complaint, which unfortunately has been backed up by a letter that affirms that the chair signed by the chair, that the board did know about it, is supportive of it, and still makes the official statement that these statements in this complaint are in fact a personal matter and have nothing to do with public advocacy or the workings of the county. I see that as flagrantly false, and I can read that a Facebook post and a private communication between a citizen and a commissioner do not qualify as malice. It is simply advocacy. Now, I've already had to spend $1,000 defending myself to this frivolous claim and not even had the courtesy of a response from either the county attorney or the board in itself. Not even an apology. So when Tina talks about feeling targeted and bullied, that's targeting and bullying. It's happened to me, it's happened to many other people in this county. And it's very unfortunate that this board has decided to take that position, that it's okay. So I would say, let's all consider our integrity here and maybe add some honesty. Because for us, having to spend our money being bullied by legal threats, it feels a whole lot like what Donald Trump is trying to do to us in other aspects that I know every single person in this room does not agree with. So please, have some compassion for your actual citizens, even though I know that I'm not somebody that one of these commissioners wants to be here. I know that I'm accused of being genocidal, and that I have to live under somebody who flies a flag of an organization that wants me dead. So consider that we do have feelings, we do feel bullied, and when the board signs letters standing up to frivolous threats that cost us hard-earned money, it speaks not just to us as people, but us as citizens. And the rest of this county looks at that and wonders to themselves, what happens if I speak up against something and they don't like it? Am I gonna have to defend myself? Am I gonna have to put money away? Is that something that a citizen of this county should think about? My personal opinion is no.
Max, are you referring to the letter that you received from Chris Floyd's personal attorney?
Yes,
You're referring to that letter,
it's a threat letter.
which has nothing to do with us,
Well,
and
it
you
didn't
all,
until you signed a letter, your chair signed a letter saying that you knew about it, you proved it, and you are doubling down on that as in fact a personal matter that is in no way public advocacy.
I just wanna clarify, you received an email in response, not some letter signed by all of us, but an email from Andy
Well,
that
beside-
made a distinction between something that our attorney does in her personal life versus something that
Which is false.
she's doing as our county attorney.
But-
And in our email, we said that our county attorney is allowed to.
Right, you affirm the separation, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is, you're saying, let me read this, is that this statement, it appears Elsa Tharp, Matt Bullock, Andrew Lee have decided to defend Chris Floyd and retain her despite acknowledging her conflict as primary attorney and an active policy advisor to the shelter tax still. Honestly, I don't understand why they choose to do this. I value Andy deeply as a friend. I know he's a good man and wants to end this issue. I know he's smart and aware of what Chris is, so I really don't understand him on this. Please reach out to your commissioners, let them know Chris Floyd is not worth their job's reputation, integrity, most importantly, not our animal shelter. So I ask you, how is that not public advocacy? How is that a malicious, intentional attack against an individual just because of who they are? Further, that I know, factually know, that I'm lying and I'm doing this specifically focused on materially hurting this individual. Does this
Commissioners,
statement
I'll just say that this is a personal matter between
It is
you
not
and
a
Mr.
personal.
Cohen, and I would encourage you not to engage in any
And
discussion
again,
about
this is policy advice being given when clearly, on the face of this is not a personal matter.
We've
And
let
you
you
don't
go
have to
over the 3 minutes.
Yes, you have, and I appreciate that.
And I do believe that, this does, encroach on boundaries of where there is legal matters still at hand.
I'm the
So-
client, I can say whatever I want.
You sure can, but as the board,
That's fine. I would ask that the board does consider and make a statement clarifying all three of the board's position and making a very informed and thoughtful decision on whether they wanna support that this is a personal matter or would like to just get out of the way.
fair enough. Does anyone else in the room have comments they would like to make? How about anyone else online?
You mind reading that one?
Okay, I have a comment from a resident, Nell Wigan. I do not know her address, I believe she is in West Park. Oakwood Home has the worst reviews according to the Better Business Bureau. The Housing Authority's lawyer expressed concerns from experience on the Front Range. My rural planner has failed to anticipate how things have gone sideways with project 10,200, the project at 10.2 I'm guessing. The taxpayers do not consent to our taxes or grants being wasted on these failed utopian experiments. 140 AMI makes low income earners subsidize earners making more money than themselves, which will accelerate gentrification. This BOCC canceled the town hall on housing for fears of verbal brawling. Okay, thanks for the input, Mel. Anyone else online? Alright. With that, we will conclude public comment. Moving on to agenda item number 1, calendar, work session and regular meeting agenda review, led by Executive Administrative Assistant Sandra Pettis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at your calendars for next week. Go ahead and share this here. The 26th is Memorial Day, yay. 27th, you have your morning work session from 9 to noon. And your afternoon work session from 1 to 4. Wednesday, the 28th, community coffee from 8:30 to 10. Work session from 10:30 to noon. And then we'll have the work session with the Steve Cooper board, from 12:30 to 3. And Commissioner Hulseth will have, I went ahead and updated this just 3 to 4.
Yeah, thanks.
So it didn't clash. And then planning commission has a meeting from 4 to 6. Thursday, the 29th, Commissioner Elsa will be in her office from 10 to 3. And Friday, the 30th, all I'm doing is Twin Lakes Community Coffee.
I see a sanitation and airport tour.
Yeah, since it's a tour, it doesn't need to be on the main calendar. It's not a public event, it's just for you guys.
Who organized it?
We do it anyway.
Adam,
Thought we had to post
I was
those.
gonna say, if it's something that's organized within the county, it should be.
should it? Okay,
Yeah,
can do that.
It's only
Adam and Josh.
organizations.
Adam and Josh Miller put it together.
I mean, if Josh meant the electrical sanitation district is inviting the commissioners to come for a tour,
Yes.
then they're the ones organizing that. But if Josh is inviting them to come for a tour of the airport or whatever, or how that relates, that would need to be, that's within the sort of.
Okay, I'll put it on there.
thank you.
You're welcome. And then let's take a look at, I believe we went over the work session agendas for next week, the last meeting, but if you would like a refresher, we can do that.
Please.
Tuesday, the 27th in the morning. Have a quick calendar review. 9:10-ish to 10 a.m. will be 2025 legislation wrap-up and updating on state funding. Elizabeth Rosen, our contract lobbyist for Political Advocacy Inc. will be here to present, and Lauren Schneider, Deputy County Manager. 10 to 12 will be an overview and discussion of off-highway vehicle use and ordinance led by Ann Schneider. And then in the afternoon, 1 to 2 will be review of the Lake County Government Information Technology Program, led by Justin Morris, our IT and Data Manager, and Liz S. Miller, Operations Manager. And 2 to 4 will be overview, presentation, and final report of OLC's feasibility study, led by Bob McDonald and team from OLC Designs.
With those work sessions, especially the morning, did it appear there would be time for us to do a special, to go on and schedule a special meeting for the wood contract?
And let me, I'll have to look at everybody's calendar, but we might be able to squeeze it in before the morning work session, which would be, maybe 8:30?
What is the OLC?
didn't-
Is that the
That's a cool.
Public Works? Feasibility
No, it's
study?
the, like the recreation center,
Oh, okay.
what, recreation and aquatic center.
Alright.
Yeah, I'll have to,
For Oakwood, I know that Oakwood's attorneys have a standing meeting with Oakwood during that time frame, but they suggested maybe it could be rescheduled to accommodate this meeting since we need to, if that works for you.
Let's plan on 8:30.
Is that okay?
I'm gonna say it's okay.
Okay.
I
So
think we
same
should
for
be able to
you,
do
Jen.
that.
If that
Thank you.
works for you.
Yeah, as long as that works for you guys, starting like 30 minutes before the first work session next
Does that
Tuesday.
work for you?
We'll do the
Special.
construction for the special
Yeah.
construction agreement, okay.
Thank you.
Alright.
I doubt that morning's gonna go so long that we can't. Do you think the morning's gonna go 3 hours?
And that's what I was gonna ask, if
Yeah, I
we
don't
needed
think
to
it
start
will.
earlier, if we could start
Let's see,
the work session perhaps at 9 and then go into the, so not to bring on, says,
The OHV for 2 hours?
I think that's
It's
what
just our
you guys
first work
requested,
session.
isn't it, Dan? For OHV discussion next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday,
2 hours.
and then we may not need it for 2 hours.
That's what I mean. Like if we
That
could
might
put
be
it at the
You wanna
end of it,
do-
Yeah, we might only.
like an
Do you
hour and a
wanna
half.
do, we can skip this too if you want and start it at like 8:45 to 9:15. So start like 15 minutes early and then that way there's plenty of time in case you need it. You wanna do that? Then that way, cause Elizabeth is an outside person, so
right.
if she's planning on being here about this, but we can make it 5 minutes later. So we could do it 8:45 to 9:15 for the special.
am I cool with that work?
Yeah, works,
Does that work? Okay,
Cool.
let's do that. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Wednesday, the 28th. $30. 10:30 to 11 will be overview and updates from the Lake County Chamber of Commerce led by Nancy Bailey, interim president. And 11 to 12 will be overview and discussion of Lake County's process for the disposition of real property. led by Bailey. And then this one at 12:30 is your Ski Cooper discussion. Okay, and then moving on to regular meeting. 6:03. This is mostly cleaned up, share normal first two with me and Sammy. Number 3 is discussion and consideration of a 2025 2S LGBTQ plus Pride Month proclamation. Discussion and consideration of approval to post a request for proposal for an expansion at the landfill and recycling center. Discussion and consideration of approval to post an RFP for the installation of a liner for that expansion at the landfill and recycling center. Discussion and consideration to approve an official action record, file number 24-03. I don't have the rest of this information until you guys have your meeting, correct, Ann?
Right, that's being held for Box Creek, but we won't know until after the, I believe that's.
Yeah, the 28th is February. Okay, yeah, we'll have those details after that. Discussion and consideration for approval to apply for an area median income waiver petition for Prop 123, led by Jackie Wilhan. Discussion and consideration to approve an IGA between Lake County and the city of Leadville authorizing applying for AMI petition. So led by Jackie. Does that look right? Okay. Discussion and consideration of an IGA between Lake County and Lake County School District for a school resource officer, led by Heath Speckman. Discussion and consideration of an MOU between the State of Colorado, Board of County Commissioners and Human Services to administer the Colorado Works Program, a statutorily required program led by Laura Cruz. Discussion and consideration of a second amendment to the professional services agreement with CBS Accounting, led by Candace Bryans. Discussion and consideration of a PSA with Elevate Strategic Consulting to provide development and mentorship sessions with key communicators in the county, led by Liz S. Miller. Discussion and consideration to approve a grant award from the Tony Francis Youth Services Program for community-based programs that provide prevention services for youth, led by Brian Revelis. This, Candace, I believe you guys discussed yesterday.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't have full go-ahead yet, but
No,
we're
he's
waiting on
got
some
it,
stuff.
we're gonna try to do a meeting before we get to here to make
Okay.
sure that
Yeah,
there are
so
a few changes we can do.
yeah, so that's why that's highlighted, but possible resolution to apply for a grant from Great Outdoors Colorado. Discussion and consideration of a sewer extension agreement for the housing at 200 foot project. And discussion and consideration of an MRC with Lumen for E911. This one's questionable right now too, right? Okay.
What is MRC?
It's a monthly recurring charge, so it's
Okay.
just their agreement for Lumen to host their E911.
We have a very large consent agenda. Won't read through all of it, but most of it is special events permits. And I need to check with Tracy and Cindy to see if we'll have any minutes ready for that one. There's a few ratifications on here, and I believe the rest of them are all special events related permits, okay? Great. Then, if you wanna take a quick look at the work sessions for the following week, those are already scheduled. 6:10. Your AM work session, quick calendar review, overview and training on County Board of Equalization hearings, led by Mark Wadsworth. And review of quarter 2 supplemental requests, led by Candace Bryans. Need to change that title on there. And your afternoon. Overview and update regarding the reorganization of Rose and Goal, led by Warren Snyder. And 11. Overview and discussion on grooming operations for the 2025-2026 winter season.
Alright,
Yeah.
hopefully we get to that today.
Alright. And yes, Sammy isn't here, so you can move on to number 3.
Right on, thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
That's not easy playing schedule Tetris.
It's it's a lot.
Yeah. Alright, agenda item number 3. Discussion and consideration of a proclamation to designate the week of May 18th to May 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. I feel like we're a little late on this. Sorry. I have so much respect and high regard for our Public Works department and all the amazing staff there, so this will be led by Mabel, not who's listed here. Go ahead, take it away.
Basically, the proclamation, whatever, was, done back in 1962 by the state Congress. And they came up with resolution 68. And then it was signed by John F. Kennedy in October 14th of 1962. And designated the week, the full week, to be Public Works. Then in 2023, President Bush changed it and made it where that is recognized every third week in May for the work that we do. With the responding to any kind of emergency, road conditions, of things of that nature, also assisting our other first responders.
You guys are the glue that holds this place together.
I'll move to approve, the proclamation to designate the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week.
Seconded.
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye. So
Should we-
proclaimed,
Should we proclaim it then?
we proclaim it.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
it's in
can we
the-
read the
It's in the
proclamation?
docket.
I'm gonna start it, just so we can
Yes.
know. Okay. We proclaim May 18th to the 24th of 2025, I'm standing up, to be National Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital to the sustainability and resilience of communities, as well as to public health, a high quality of life, and the well-being of the people of Lake County. And whereas these infrastructure systems, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for building, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other essential structures, and the facilities that serve the residents and visitors of Lake County. And whereas it is in the public interest for residents and civic leaders to gain knowledge of and maintain a continuing interest in and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the Lake County Board of County Commissioners of the State of Colorado hereby designates the week of May 18th to the 24th of 2025 as National Public Works Week, in recognition of the substantial contributions of Lake County Public Works in protecting public health and safety and in advancing the quality of life for all. Thank you, Mabel.
Thank you, Mabel, and everyone in the Public Works Department. Couldn't do it without yous. Alrighty. Wonderful. Okay, moving on, agenda item number 4, discussion and consideration of a construction agreement with Clayton Properties Group Incorporated, Solution Builders under the trademark Oakwood Homes for the construction of the Housing at 10-2 project. This will, are we just going to table this right off the bat, or do we need
We're
to?
gonna talk about it.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about it, yeah.
Alright, so led by Housing Program Manager Jackie Wellahan and Rural Planner Michael Yerman.
Good. So, we've made substantial progress on the construction contract with Oakwood Homes for the building of the 24 housing units. At this point, there's some, I'd say we're about 95% there. There's some final details that we need to ensure that are fully baked to basically ensure that we have done our due diligence to put the county in the best position moving forward with any kind of risk and surety moving forward for those construction of those units. We have begun the process of reaching out to the lottery winners in the first phase to begin the process of actually signing contracts and having house selection contingent on this contract being put in place. I unfortunately will report that we're down to 9 buyers out of the original 16, so we've had some attrition. And so that is a conversation that we'll be having with Oakwood. The good news though is that of the 185 additional folks that have applied on the website, we've already had 35 folks say that they're going to be putting in their name for the lottery on June 13th. So there's still substantial interest out there. What we've heard from a lot of the folks that we were looking at today that have lower AMIs is that the price point is just out of reach with interest rates the way they are today.
When's
So-
the lottery, Michael?
Next lottery will be, July 23rd,
Oh,
but the deadline to apply is June 13th.
okay.
So, that's an important date if anyone's interested, they have to have a complete application in. And then there's, several weeks that we go through, and we always allow folks to fix their application when it's incomplete, to get them across the finish line, because we want as many people to participate as we can. So, the key points in the contract that is still in there are the purchase of 2 units by the county, the buyer credit, and the performance bond. We're down to just really making sure the contract says what we want it to say and fleshing out the final details on certain items. I think there was enough, back and forth that's still negotiating that still needs to occur to make sure that the county is in the best position possible going forward on this. Am I
No, and it's just typically, if we just had a couple of nits to pick out, we'd come in and ask for approval pending final legal review, but there are a couple of substantive issues we're still working through, and I wasn't comfortable doing that today, so we'll bring it to you on Tuesday instead.
Will those be sorted by Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a good conversation this morning, and I think both parties want to, it's a matter, it's a matter of sitting down and just saying, here's what you're saying, here's what we're saying, and the wording. We're trying to say the same thing, but we're saying it different, like the use of a certain verb versus a different verb,
Yeah.
Again, legal, the attorneys and, but I think the substantive matters of the contract are all there. I don't think it's, in my opinion, I actually I felt a lot better than I did this morning when I woke up about it because of the conversation we did have with the legal team and that the stuff that we're going back on is, I think, the fact that there was just so many red lines that they were trying, versions of the contract that have gone through me and Chris and Oakwood and their attorneys, trying to stitch them all back together, it's just a process. So we have a meeting actually tomorrow to really come through the new clean draft and just get it sorted to the point where I think both myself, and I don't want to speak for Chris, but Chris would be comfortable to be ready to take action on it, but there's enough details that need to be boxes in check and making it clean that, and it's not gonna lie, it's a substantial contract, it's $8.7 million. So my job is to protect the interests of the county and look out for you as a client, and I'm at the point where this morning I was saying to Chris that we need to ensure that these details are perfected. So I think the other thing that we'll be doing is huddling with Oakwood this week and talking about the fact that we're down to 9 buyers and having a conversation about how that works in the notice to proceed, and talking to Oakwood about their desire and making sure that they want to proceed. So there's some of those conversations that we'll get to and make sure that we have dotted the i's, crossed the t's. The other thing that I will say is that one of the reasons that both that I am, I don't want to speak for Chris, but where I was, is that once we execute this contract, we will begin executing buyer contracts. So I want to ensure that if we do sign and we do proceed, that we're ready to build. And so that's what's really important about this contract is making sure that those really important details are 100% hammered out.
And my goal, we're working, I talked with them towards the end after Michael, but our goal is to try to get the revised version to y'all, we hope tomorrow. But it would depend on how quickly they can come back to us tomorrow as well, so we can get it to you. So that y'all will have something to look at. I didn't want to send you what we were working on now, because it's incredibly hard to navigate and decipher with all the changes and stuff, so didn't want to waste your time to look at something that wasn't what I felt was close to the final version.
Okay.
Alright,
I move to table the construction agreement, consideration of a construction agreement with Clayton Properties Group until
Tuesday,
date?
May 27th.
Tuesday the 27th.
Tuesday, May 27th.
I'll second the motion.
okay, to a vote,
Aye.
Aye.
aye. Gets moved down the line a little bit. Thanks, guys, appreciate that. Agenda item number 5, discussion and consideration of the adoption of resolution 2025-19. 2025 county board and position appointments. This is led by Candace Bryans, county manager. Go
So
ahead,
this
Candace.
is just the updated positions for boards to put the county manager back into the boards that they were in before. We had Lauren as the interim.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Lauren has been really heavily involved with the animal shelter so far, and so even though I've put myself as the lead on that board, I'd like to ask that when I can't attend, or that when it seems like she really could be of some background information and just helpful, I'd like to ask that she can join.
Yes,
And I know that's not normally how we do it, but that's what I'd like to do if you're okay with it.
yes, thank
Okay.
you.
And then I know you guys have got the document in front of you, do you want me to pull it up here, or?
Oh, I can pull it up.
None of the boards you were assigned to changed. I guess we felt passionately this would be the moment to ask to move it.
I'm not reading the whole thing, I just do the top thing, right?
Yeah.
By the title. Just the title. We're not reading this whole thing.
No, please.
Actually, Matt, it's
Unless you
your,
want to.
sorry, it's your turn, do you wanna do it?
Sure. I move to adopt resolution 2025-19, the 2025 county board position appointments.
Seconded.
To a vote,
Aye.
aye. Great. Agenda item number 6. Discussion and consideration of the adoption of resolution 2025-20, a resolution designating authorized signatories on the county's bank accounts. This is led by Candace Bryans, county manager. Go ahead, Candace.
So this is just adding me to be a signer on the regular checking account and the payroll account. I also we have other accounts, and so we have those listed on here, but I won't be added as a signer to those. This is really more so you guys know they exist. Which is historically, I think, we haven't had a full list of all.
Nice. I move to approve resolution 2025-20, a resolution designating authorized signatories on the county's bank accounts.
Can we talk about it real quick?
You
Yes,
just second it and then we
Okay.
can
I'll
talk about it.
second the motion.
Thank you.
okay.
Yes, we can talk about it.
Before we take this to a vote, let's discuss.
Chris, what do you make of this CRS 30? Does this have any bearing on what we're talking about? Cause it's a
No.
little confusing to me.
No, the BOCC has the authority to delegate this type of matter to the county manager or any of its other agents, so it has no,
We are not in violation of any Colorado revised statutes.
no, sir.
Okay.
Not in my opinion, you're not.
Did you read this?
No, she didn't provide me with
Here, will you pass that to Chris? Let's see.
Because I'm reading through it and I can't connect this with,
How many other counties operate
And
in the
this is-
same fashion?
Well, it's gonna, everybody
Literally
does,
everyone?
that's just it,
Yeah.
everybody does, and that's, this has to do with claims presented against the county. For example, if you had a claim that was asserted for an injury or something like that, and instead of filing a lawsuit, they just brought a claim to be, made whole or whatever, then the county, the BOCC has the authority to enter into a resolution of that claim and sign off on essentially a settlement agreement, a payment for that claim.
Yeah.
This is totally different than your general administrative authority under Title 34, the operations of the county. So this is specific in terms of claims against the county,
Yeah, it doesn't have any bearing on the decision.
on no operations and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm bummed that Tina didn't stay around for that, to hear that.
Maybe she's online and she can email us if she wants further explanation on why we've approved this.
I'm just bummed that like the opportunity, it sounds like she really thinks that what she read is what she understands. And it's a missed opportunity to hear what this actually pertains to and how what we're doing is legal. That's what I'm saying is a shame.
I think it's just a misinterpretation of the last sentence of the first paragraph of 30.25-110,
Right.
where this pertains to
It's actually the very first sentence, any claim or demand held by a person against the county shall be removed. And so it pertains to claims against the county, it's not in terms of general operating.
yeah, and at the end of it, it says such a warrant or order
Yeah.
shall be signed by the chairperson.
Yeah.
But we're discussing, operational stuff, not these specific examples. So, I mean, I would imagine that could be pretty easily cleared up if that conversation was followed up on.
Do you wanna follow up on it? I guess what I'm asking is like, hey, she's not here anymore. She brought something up in public comment, what is our follow-up gonna be?
Yeah, I'd be happy to confer with staff and type up something pretty brief and to the point about hopefully clearing this up, this misconception.
Thank you.
I think it might be worth clarifying that usually the county manager as a signer is like the last resort. We almost always try to have Tracy in her office or one of you guys sign.
Yeah,
It's sort of like last resort is that I can sign if I need to.
we're on
Yeah.
the bottom of you're on the
Yeah,
bottom of the
on
list.
the bottom of the totem pole here.
Signature ladder,
And Patrick is on there,
Patrick's in there
like he
too.
referred to the treasurer.
Yeah.
He's on there, he's just a lot higher than you. So, I mean,
okay,
her concerns are,
follow up.
I'll send you something on that.
Cool. Alright, to a vote?
hi,
Aye.
Alright, great, thank you guys for diving into that a little bit and clearing things up. Agenda item number 7, discussion and consideration of the adoption of resolution 2025-21. A resolution approving the third amended subdivision improvement agreement for Mountain Gate subdivision in Lake County, Colorado. This will be led by Community Planning and Development Director Ann Schneider. Go ahead, Ann, thank you.
Yes, thank you. This is kind of an exciting moment. This subdivision, Mountain Gate subdivision, received its approval of final plat in 2008. In 2009, it was determined by the county that the developer was in default under the SIA. The SIA is the Subdivision Improvement Agreement, which is the contractual agreement to construct all of the public improvements. And so the county holds a bond in the event, for the benefit of the county and the taxpayers, if the developer doesn't perform under the conditions that are outlined within this contractual agreement. So in 2009, the county determined default by the developer and went to Alpine Bank and withdrew the bond that they held in the amount of $64,000. The $64,000 has sat in with Lake County since that time. And we've been able in the last year and a half, almost 2 years, to negotiate with that developer to get the improvements finished. So just really incredible to get this subdivision finally finished. So the road improvements, the drainage improvements are perfected, they've been inspected by engineering. And so what is left under the agreement is for the developer to provide a 1-year warranty of those improvements. And so there is additional surety that has to be, a performance bond that has to be in place in order to guarantee those improvements. And so through this kind of resurrecting and amending the subdivision improvement agreement, which we did last year in order to get things back on track with the developer and get these improvements done, kind of a creative solution was to supplement the $64,000 that we held as a surety with a lien on 2 of the lots that are owned by the developer. So we're in first position with a lien on lots 1 and 2. And so what today we're bringing forth is a resolution to identify that the improvements have been installed, they've been inspected, and that we're gonna continue those liens on lot 1 and 2 for the warranty period, which the roadway expires October 21st of this year, and the stormwater drainage improvement warranty expires in December 26th of 2025. And so those will be the surety for guaranteeing those public improvements. And we'll be looking to release to the developer the $64,000 that we've been holding since 2009. So these lots are on the market, they're being marketed. They will start contributing to our tax rolls and be opportunities to add housing stock to our community. So just kind of exciting to see a subdivision that had kind of gone off the rails at one point be finished up. And now we're almost ready to have that warranty period out and have a viable contributing subdivision. So happy to answer any questions. The document layout is, and a huge thanks to Chris for managing all the moving pieces of this. As you can imagine, the amount of legal work and documentation that had to be done to perfect this and bring this to reality has been quite a lift. So thank you, Chris, for all the help that you gave CPD in doing this. But we have the 3rd amended Mountain Gate subdivision, which will need to be signed. And basically all that does is talk about the history that I've already shared with you, but recognizes that this is ultimately an agreement, an amended version of the subdivision improvement agreement. It has the lien that Mr. Draper, the developer, Marty Draper, signs as an exhibit that's attached, and then there's the resolution. So there's actually 2 documents in what you've been furnished. I do have hard copy in case you need them, but we would be looking for a motion to approve the 3rd amended Mountain Gate subdivision improvement agreement, and a motion to approve the resolution, and let me give you the title. Do you have the title in your paperwork?
Yes.
Okay, and then you can look for adoption of that resolution by title. And these obviously have all been reviewed, created, and by county attorney's office, so they're ready.
And I have that whole packet for them to sign.
Beautiful, okay.
Chris, yeah, so I think it's a sub copy of that.
And I will work with Mr. Draper's attorney and Chris to get the lien signed by Mr. Draper.
Did they not sign the updates? The originals are signed.
The originals are
The originals are signed.
beautiful.
Yeah, I have that packet for you, so.
The only other thing that I wanted to make sure that the board was aware of and that Candace is aware of is that I have the historic copies of the checks and the work that we did kind of in working with the treasurer to identify the funds. And I've worked with Will, who just needs confirmation through the approval by the board to release these funds. And I'll work with Candace just to make sure that we've got good accounting for records.
Hey, Ann, I just went through the packet trying to figure out where is Mountain Gate? Where is this gonna be?
So
County Road 4, right past Westwood, just the entrance is on
Oh,
the
this is
south side.
okay,
So it's directly adjacent to
Oh,
Mountain
on the
Pines
south
on the
side.
south side. So it'll be across
Ooh.
the road from Timber Ranch.
okay.
Finally got it done.
Finally got it done,
It's been going on forever.
almost 2 decades. So,
And those are all sewer accessible.
yes, they're on city water and city sewer,
City
or on,
water.
they're on district water and district sanitation.
Alright.
I think it's your turn.
Is it? I might need some help with the verbiage. What I have here is I move to approve and adopt resolution 2025-21, a resolution approving the third amended subdivision improvement agreement for Mountain Gate subdivision.
Seconded.
Okay, to a vote?
Aye. Oh, sorry.
No, I as well.
Aye.
Alright, great.
And you want to motion.
Yes,
Oh,
and then
two
I'm-
motions.
So you also
Sorry,
need
what-
to approve
Eileen?
the subdivision improvement agreement.
Well, that's,
Oh, and I guess the resolution does do that, so I think it's just 2
Oh, okay.
signatures. There's 2 I apologize, you could do it all in one motion, but there are several documents to sign.
Never mind.
And
Thanks,
you
Tracy.
need to let Will know that this got approved so he can move forward with the accounting for you.
Yes, and I let him, we've been talking this morning, I just need to get Patrick to give him that yes. Yeah, so I'll go, and so I've got those records to show Patrick, and we went and found these funds before, and I thought I had an email from Ruth Bourne, I can't really find her, so I'm just gonna talk to Patrick directly.
Alright, well, we got Ann on stage here. We're gonna look at agenda item number 8, discussion and consideration of an official action record for land use file number 25-13, Angel View 2, major subdivision sketch plan extension, led by CPD Director Ann Schneider.
Thank you so much. So I have a recommendation from your planning commission today in the form of a motion, so I'll read that into the record. This is a statement of motion on file 25-13. At its April 28th, 2025 regular meeting, the Lake County Planning Commission unanimously approved a motion for approval with 5 members in favor. The original motion was made by David Jurich and seconded by Jason Marufo. They moved recommending approval to the Board of County Commissioners of file 2513, a 1-year extension of the Angel View 2 major subdivision sketch plan located at 5585 Highway 82 containing 44.48 acres and further find pursuant to section 3.16.3J. The applicant has proven good cause for the one-time 1-year extension. And this will extend the sketch plan until April 2nd of 2026. And I do believe the board was present during this regular meeting of the Planning Commission, but just to provide a little background, the applicant and developer provided a letter from their attorney stating the reasons for the extension were outside of their control, which is the finding that needs to be made, that there was good cause. And one is CDOT, traffic study, and the other was a coordination of that with CDOT and the extended time that that's been taken, as well as the ability to get on and do geotech testing, given the seasonality of the ability to do such. So those were the 2 items that they stated. This is a one-time allowance through the code. So after April 2nd, 2026, this sketch plan will lapse if approved.
I move to approve the official action record, OAR, for land use file 25-13, Angel View 2, major subdivision sketch plan extension.
I will second the motion.
Great, to a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Alright,
And and then I just was going to mention, I apologize, I wasn't here at the start of the meeting. The next two agenda items, were an oversight. And so the, Gateway, the OAR has been recorded on that, so we did not need to bring that. That was done right at the end of last year by the previous board. And then I apologize, I think someone on my team had asked for a road maintenance agreement.
That stuff got taken off.
Those aren't
Oh,
on there
those
yet.
are, both of them are on?
Yeah.
Oh, great, okay.
You know, it's that.
You
Thanks,
guys are
Ann.
way ahead. I was hoping to give you a big surprise.
Yeah, I was like,
Less on your
that's
agenda.
not you, bro.
Oh, good.
You're good.
Hey, Ann, do you have the official action record paperwork printed out?
Cece was listening to the meeting and she's gonna run it down. So she'll, yay Cece, thank you. She's listening and she'll bring down the outcome of that vote. Awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, moving on, agenda item number 9, discussion and consideration of a non-funded challenge cost share agreement between Lake County and the USDA, the Forest Service, Pike, San Isabel National Forest, and Cimarron and Comanche National Grasslands for basic outdoor recreation related maintenance and monitoring on National Forest System lands. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Led by Tourism and Economic Development Director Adam Ducharme. Hey Adam.
Sorry, I totally thought I was number 10, so I was listening. Paying attention. Yes, so this, because this is a no-cost share agreement with the federal government, it has a name like that. But, so, the background here is that when in 2023, when we created the Friends of Lake County group, the initial intention of that group was to be a no cost share or, cost share agreement as it's referred to, with a no cash cost share agreement with the US Forest Service. And the entity who stood it up was Visit Leadville Twin Lakes, which at the end of the day is Lake County government. And so that first year that we operated and did our 7 or 8 events, we did it under the general volunteer agreement of the US Forest Service because it takes quite a bit of time to work through one of these agreements with the US Forest Service. And so starting in late 2023, Kate DeMorris from the Leadville Ranger District started working on the agreement. Based on, she went off and did a stint, forget what it's called.
Detail.
Thank you, a detail, out of Leadville. And so the agreement kind of was paused. And then she was able to pick it back up when she came back, and then it was paused by the administration. So there have been sort of a number of things where I think collectively we were under the assumption and hope that we would have this in place before the 2024 summer of volunteer events, but we were able to leverage that same volunteer agreement. But ultimately, it's best practice for the US Forest Service as well as for Friends of Lake County for us to have our own agreement. Number one, it's sort of by creating the no cash cost share agreement, it is a vehicle through which we have the ability to, if we ever needed to, send funds back and forth between the two entities. And then additionally, it requires us to have our own insurance, which from a liability standpoint is best practice. So as I mentioned, this is a no cash cost share agreement. So what that means is my time, Jane's time, Katie's time, and as well as all the volunteer hours, those are recorded as cash in lieu or work in lieu of cash. Yeah, work in lieu of cash. And then the same applies for the US Forest Service. So staff, vehicles, equipment that they bring out, things like that. So this is the vehicle that allows us to do work on US Forest Service land. We cannot just go do work on US Forest Service land without some sort of agreement like this, and ultimately, with all the constraints going on, now is actually a really awesome time to be able to provide additional assistance and support to our partners who take care of 73% of Lake County's land.
Takes a village.
Village of Twin Lakes has this, has had it for
Yeah,
a very long time.
Friends of Lake County, or sorry, Friends of Twin Lakes, yep. Yeah, and they've used it too for some interesting projects, like being able to rehabilitate some of the historic structures down there and stuff, so from the standpoint of being linked this way where there is a financial vehicle that could be leveraged at some point is also really effective. If, you know, we get into issues where there are some of the campgrounds that are maintained by the US Forest Service continue to have water issues, so quite a few, in fact, I think most of our managed campgrounds don't have water access due to old infrastructure. And there's been a number of volunteers that have tried to work through these situations, but at some point, especially if and when economic conditions improve, it would be really great to find a way to most cost effectively deal with those kinds of issues, because not having water at any of our campgrounds when the Leadville Ranger District actually has one of the largest networks of controlled campgrounds in the state of Colorado. And we do receive lodging tax back from that. So they are contributing, because it's not the duty of the concessionaire to deal with those things, but it is the responsibility of the Forest Service when they have access to funds to deal with those types of things. So it feels like there's an opportunity there as an example of being able to, leverage this partnership in a human way.
With respect to what we gain from all the services provided by the Forest Service here, is there any, and I'm getting the intent of this is to just trade efforts, in an even fashion. Is there any scenario that you could envision where we would end up on the hook for some serious work that we are not getting the same kind of effort in return on, or is there mechanisms in place that will keep this fairly even?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically they have a whiteboard with probably 50 projects that are, they kind of change the color of them in terms of how critical they become. And we meet in the winter, we start meeting in December, and we go over the 12 to 15 projects that they have identified, and then we come up with what is gonna be the most appropriate and get the best community response, as well as the potential success outcome from a volunteer standpoint.
So there's not a situation where there will be you guys agreed to this, now there's gotta be running water at every campsite at Turquoise Campground now?
No,
Okay,
no,
just trying to,
sure,
play
Yeah,
devil's
yeah,
advocate.
yeah, for sure, no, that makes sense.
Scenarios.
No, ultimately, again, I think the intent of Friends of Lake County, and Elsa's probably pretty aware because she was on the tourism panel at the time, but the intent of Friends of Lake County, the story that I always tell is that there was somebody, when I first started my job, who would respond to every single one of our Facebook posts and Instagram videos, or Instagram posts with, "You're the reason why our community is dying," and it was to visit Leadville Twin Lakes, and I reached out to them directly via direct message and asked what their concerns were, and they explained that they used to be able to walk their dog down below Turquoise Lake, and that the trash situation down there has just become untenable. And I asked them if they would be willing to be a part of the solution, and they said they absolutely would. And so when we stood up Friends of Lake County, I made sure that there was a volunteer opportunity for that, and that person was present, and it completely changed the dialogue, and that person no longer does anything negative online, and now works with us. So I think it's, at the end of the day, the intention of Friends of Lake County is to be a vehicle for us to see the change we want to see in the world. Because I am not a huge fan of online complaining. kind of more of a, put your money where your mouth is.
A doer.
So, yes, some have described me as a doer, for sure. So, so I specifically choose projects that, this year, for instance, we're doing another partnership with Runners for Public Lands where they actually bring in tourists from around the country. We had 4 states represented and 25 people last year, and I think they're shooting for about that same amount this year. And they come here, they get to go run the trails, it's sponsored by Teva, and there's a few athletes that come, they get to do talks about our community. And then they go to C4 and learn about food and food access in our community, and then they come and all of them volunteer out at Half Moon. So last year we cleaned up over 65 fire rings and a few hundred pounds of waste, trash and human
Huge.
waste. So
So cool.
and they're coming again this year for that exact same purpose. And that's an example of regenerative tourism, which is something I'm a big proponent of, because braiding sweetgrass, why do anything if it's not giving back? It's very anti-capitalism and anti-American, I understand, but you know, a boy can dream.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
we I think to date, we have something like 240 volunteer hours that we've logged.
Great.
So, yeah, it's a wonderful partnership, and again, this is just sort of the next step is finalizing this agreement.
We appreciate all the hard work you put into this. And it's definitely apparent how much, you know, you've done here, so I wanna say thank you on behalf of the board for that. And
I move
That's
to
right.
approve the non-funded challenge cost share agreement between Lake County and the USDA, the Forest Service, Pike, San Isabel National Forest, Cimarron and Comanche National Grasslands for basic outdoor recreation related maintenance and monitoring on National Forest System lands.
Nailed it.
Seconded.
to a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Appreciate that and all the work you're doing.
Yep.
You made us look really good in Chaffey County yesterday.
Oh.
You had so much good stuff to say. They were like, wow.
I told him to stop talking, he looks too good and they'll try to poach him.
Like just what he said.
Yeah.
It's too windy down there, Adams, don't say it.
Scott's not renewing his contract, I'm just saying.
Get outta here. Don't get outta here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That was great. I do agree that doing more of that is critical, for sure.
There's no skiing.
They have no skiing,
No Nordic
gosh
skiing.
darn it.
No,
We have no hot
Nordic.
springs, so we just.
The idea that you can shred snow and then go shred dirt in the same day is just something we should really build on with those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, that
Ideal weekend.
that blog just went live, so it's gonna be in the newsletter.
Awesome. Cool, alright. Moving on, any further discussion on agenda item number 9? Okay. Agenda item number 10, discussion and consideration of a contract with the National Forest Foundation to support the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Regional Partnership Initiative Grant. This will be led by PRO's Deputy Director, Jane Schaefer.
Hi.
Hi, Jane.
Thanks for the time. This should be pretty quick. So if you had a chance to read the memo, I'll give you just like some high level background to add on. But in 2022, Lake County joined Chaffey and Gunnison counties in partnering on a grant application for CPW's RPI grant program, which advocates for cross-jurisdictional regional partnerships focused on mostly sustainable tourism and outdoor rec management and planning. And this particular contract I'm bringing to you is for a second round of grant that we applied for in 2024. So we applied for this last spring. We got the award in June, and we, I think, had our first funds disbursement from CPW to the National Forest Foundation, who's our fiscal sponsor, in like September, in the fall. We've had some delays with NFF on their internal process between the 22 grant and the 24 grant. Things have changed a little. So we are now being asked to sign a contract with NFF just to have that disbursement avenue for us to get the funds. $50,000 from the 2024 grant is gonna go towards supporting a Lake County dedicated coalition that was stood up in March of last year with the 2022 funds to really help Lake County create a solidified identity around outdoor recreation management within our community to then bring that unique identity to the rest of the regional partnership. Chaffey County has Envision, Gunnison County has their Sustainable Tourism and Outdoor Rec Committee, and Lake County is working to develop our dedicated group so that, again, we just make sure that we're at the table and we have our ideals and characteristics represented equally. The other part of that fund is a remaining about $4,000 from the 2022 grant that is still owed to us. Those funds are gonna go towards a signed project with our partners at the Leadville Ranger District to support some of their dispersed camping management signage on Half Moon. So that's where the money's going, but ultimately we need the money. So we need this vehicle for movement from NFF to Lake County. They are at this stage able to give us the entire amount up front. So that is what we're gonna do.
Awesome. Jane, we talked about this a little bit last night, which was exciting, but who is gonna be on our coalition? And how is it gonna be different from like LaCosi?
Yeah, it's a good question and we're still in the really early stages. This group met once in March of last year. There were 14 folks that showed up, representatives from kind of across the community. We had CPW, US Forest Service, Lake County Search and Rescue, Economic Development and Race Series, as well as some elected officials. Adam and I were there, Central Colorado Conservancy, quite a few folks that are linked in with outdoor recreation in the community. So a big part of what we're looking at in the next step is making sure that we're identifying any other individuals that should be included in this who haven't had that reach out, or who weren't able to make it to that last meeting in March. What this looks like in a year might look super different from where we are right now. There is an opportunity for this to potentially envelop into an existing coalition like LaCosi. But since LaCosi is a separate entity from the county and it's not county jurisdictionally led, there's maybe some things to weigh there about funding and what makes the most sense for decision making. So for right now, we'll keep this in-house, led by the county because of where the funds are and how we applied for them. When we look for an additional round of funding through the same grant program in the future, the application might look a little different based on where the group is at that time. But right now, we're looking to use that $50K to dedicate towards a facilitator. Probably not the one we used for the March meeting because that person was really expensive, was a really great facilitator, but wasn't an industry expert. So really looking for someone who's a little more niche and helping to support this kind of work.
Is the funding the kind of thing that could go to LaCosi now? Just this is not an agenda I'm pushing, I'm just trying to understand it.
Not with how the current application with CPW was written.
Okay.
There's potential for it, I think, down the line with future applications, but as it sits right now, we're really looking to focus on creating that new coalition. Now, that coalition could become a subgroup of LaCosi in the future.
Okay.
That's, I think, certainly all the options are on the table for discussion.
Cool.
And then hopefully that facilitator really gives us the direction of where's the longevity for this piece, where does it fit in nicely to things that already exist, and how do we make this like a very long-term sustainable operation?
Yeah, that was the intent of applying for this grant, was to literally answer the question definitively that you asked of like, what is the best direction for this group? In terms of, again, you know, I go back to when the major planning effort was happening in Chaffey, they formed a group that was not dissimilar to LaCosi, that was Envision Chaffey, and it was made up of all of the jurisdictions and led by a really, really strong core group of volunteers. And then they hired an executive director in Cindy Williams, who works 8 trillion hours above what she is paid to keep the train on the tracks all of that.
Yeah.
Common Ground Fund and everything that happens in Chafee is on the back of one human being that's on the tip of the spear.
Wow.
So we need to really do some soul searching with this group and identify what's the right way to do that in Lake County.
Mm-hmm. Whenever I've talked to the Chafee County Commissioners outside of like last night, they were so excited about Envision and just really want us on board, and I'm like, well, we don't have that.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
pump your brakes.
Yeah.
And that's the big part here of having like a Lake County dedicated group to be part of this regional effort.
Yeah.
The structure of the Central Colorado Rec Partnership between Lake Chafee and Gunnison is a little unique and different from some of the other regional partnerships. There's about 15 or 16, I think, across the state, with regional collaborations through this program with CPW. And most of them are representatives from their different municipalities across a variety of counties that share boundaries, and have a little bit more funding to leverage across their communities. We're in a little bit of an interesting pocket, and while Chafee County and us, we share a watershed, Gunnison County is kind of like, we're sharing tourists.
Yeah.
We're sharing humans that are crossing through all of our communities. So eventually the hope is that between the three of us, we're able to have like our own unique identity brought to the table, and then talk about like consistent messaging, and are we gonna maybe share, language across our three communities, so it's really consistent for tourists in the area. And I think there's also some opportunity for that to be a really good example for other regional partnerships that have maybe that shared piece, and maybe they don't share a boundary, like we don't share a boundary with Gunnison in that same space, that like the Northern Colorado group, the NoCo places, it's like this huge conglomerate of really, really forward-moving communities and municipalities who share that boundary, and a lot of them are, they share residents, and people work in one and live in another. So this is a really cool opportunity for us to kind of create our own foundation, figure out long-term what works the best, and then potentially tap into some of the other RPs like north and east of us. Eagle County has the Eagle County Wildlife Roundtable, I think is what their RP is called. Summit has a Summit County SCOC, Summit County Outdoor Coalition. Pitkin has one as well. So there's a long-term potential for us to partner with some of these other like central mountainous communities and regional partnerships to even like broaden.
And how that would show up eventually for us is, Envision obviously has a very, very strong strategic plan, and Gunnison does as well, because in Gunnison, for those of you that are not aware, they have a department called STORE, which is Sustainable Tourism and Outdoor Recreation. And this position within that department that has been liaising with Jane, that position is grant funded. And so like the $50,000 to us is to stand up this group, but the $50,000 that went to them is to pay for that person's salary.
Why are we the last one to have something stood up in this RP?
Because we're little.
Cause we're so little?
Envision has been
We're
around
learning-
for
we're
some
learning.
time, and so has Gunison's store committee.
Oh, so
And they were
before
already
the partnership.
established
Yeah.
when they came together in 22 to say, let's form a regional partnership.
Got it.
And we'll bring Lake in a little bit, but like we didn't have capacity at that time to like have a dedicated staff member. This was pretty much single commissioner led to say, let's get in on this, like let's figure out how we can be in this first round, and then part of the creation of the open space position was intended to lead and grow the regional partnership.
Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, cause
Okay.
again, in 2018, which is when this stuff all started, like that's when Envision was forming, and that is also when STORE was created.
Okay.
So,
And we were
again,
just
we
hanging
we didn't hire B until 22, so
Yeah.
we're just little, so we just do things a little slower.
We're such babies.
We're catching up.
Yeah, there you go. That's right, we're gonna have all these problems solved by next year.
6 months.
So this money is gonna go to a facilitator, and then potentially some of the work that's actually gonna be done. Okay, cool. Thanks for answering all those questions. I know this is actually an easy yes, but
Yeah.
I appreciate the answers.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this did come from the fact that there was a commissioner that signed off on, we're gonna be a part of this,
Which commissioner?
Commissioner Munch. So then it was brought back to me when I was hired as like,
This is
hey,
you.
this agreement,
Huh.
kinda gotta follow through with it, so and then now we're here.
It was Jane. That's awesome.
The other thing I will add before you vote, and shoot this down if this does not sound good. The contract, NFF has a lot of hoops, and we've talked a lot about. They've been a great partner, it's just time intensive. The current contract has my name listed as the point of contact and the signatory, and so I had added in here, if you can give me one-time signatory authority, so we don't need to change the contract. I don't know if that is okay, and that's just so that we don't have to go back to them and ask for a contract.
Again, yeah, that's, you can certainly delegate that authority to Jane.
That would be my request, just so that I can sign it today and get it right back to them, and then it's done.
Yeah.
So approval of number 10 on the condition that
Well,
we
and authorizing,
Authorizing.
to approve and authorize
approve and
Deputy
authorize.
Director James Schaefer to execute the contract.
Would you please just give a copy of all?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm coming.
No, take your time. Do we need to have like an official review of that before we allow that to be signed off on?
We've
or-
already reviewed it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's already been reviewed.
Just making sure.
It wouldn't be in front of you.
Right, we don't get to see it. Okay, I move to approve the contract with the National Forest Foundation to support the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Regional Partnership Initiative Grant. And also to authorize Deputy Director Jane Schaefer to sign the contract.
I'll second the motion.
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty,
Thanks y'all.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
thanks for the good discussion.
Yes.
Staff, staff makes us look pretty good.
No kidding.
Alrighty, moving on. This next agenda item, number 11, discussion and consideration of a grant award from Gary Community Ventures to Human Services to support maximizing the utilization of public benefits. This will be led by Kristen Logan, the Deputy Director of Strategic Initiatives, who is joining us today online. Hello, Kristen.
Hey, hey everyone, good afternoon. I'm keeping my germs home today, getting over a cold, so good to see you all. So on the March 4th BOCC regular meeting, we presented our intent to apply for this grant. It's through the Gary Community Ventures Foundation. And we were very grateful that you all approved our request to apply, and happy to let you all know that we were awarded this funding along with Gunnison and Pueblo counties. So just a refresher on this funding, it's for 2 years, $50,000 each year, so 100 total. There's no matching requirement. And the basis behind this grant is to enhance the utilization numbers for 2 county benefit programs that we know we need to elevate in our community, which are SNAP and CCAP. So this will be truly a group effort with our economic security team, our CCAP team, which is me, and many of our leaders. And the funding will go towards the support of salaries for those folks, as well as some outreach initiatives for our community to ensure that the project is centered around community feedback. And so today, this is just a pretty short and sweet request. We're here for your approval via signature on the general grant terms, conditions, and understanding agreement that we sent with our memo. It's been reviewed by Chris and her team. And so once it's signed, they told us that it could, we could expect the first payment of $50,000 within 21 days.
Can I
Did you guys have any questions?
So, when I was looking at the contract in the signature block, it does say Department of Human Services. It has name, title, blank. So I didn't know if we're delegating signature to them, or if you want
For some reason, I thought that, for some reason, I thought we had added a signature block to that, but if not, we can either scratch out that and put in anything that I thought there was supposed to be a signature block. If it's not there, I mean, we could add that.
I was gonna say, I can change it easily, we can add it. Let's do
Have
that.
him sign that.
So what do? We're gonna.
We'll just have it
approve
so that
it.
Andy, y'all approve and it'll be just normal that we'll add some signature on for Andy, and it might be okay to go in and have Director DHS to sign as
Also,
well,
okay.
but to make sure it's authorized by the BOCC.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move to approve the grant award from Gary Community Ventures to Human Services to support maximizing the utilization of public benefits, with the understanding that Commissioner Lee's name be added and signature required to receive the grant.
Seconded.
Alright, to a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Thank you. We
You.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, staff, for catching that. Okay, agenda item number 12, County Manager's Monthly Updates, led by County Manager Candace Bryans.
We have quite a few updates, so I'm gonna try to hit a bit in each section. That's for rather than read everything at you guys. So in public health, Julia Jansen has left us, and Kelsey Maxey, as you guys know, is now our Director of Public Health, and we are currently looking for that next Deputy Director. They let go of one FTE who was working remotely doing tobacco related work. The senior center may be potentially losing its digital department due to their AmeriCorps fund cutting. We've had quite a few updates on funding for public health and DHS who have seen a few things that could potentially be cut, and if you guys would like, we could schedule a work session. I think it might be helpful to run through things that we see coming up for those departments so that we aren't being reactionary. We can have a game plan depending on what cuts we see. So I would at least suggest that while talking about staff updates. In tourism and economic development, Mead and Hunt has begun work on the off-airport industrial park master planning and market demand study. And the timeline for that project is looking to be 30 to 45 days to kind of inform some decisions about how we proceed with that project. We're doing a tour of the Leadville Sanitation District this week, which I'm actually really excited to understand the benefits and challenges that our current sanitation district is experiencing.
Wait, are you doing a separate tour?
No, I'm with you.
That's next.
We're
next
going,
week.
next week, sorry. On my
Sorry,
sheet, it
sorry to
said
interrupt.
it was May 16th originally.
Okay.
It did.
Let's see, Adam attended the NQCCOG Regional Economic Summit in Silverthorne. He did not give me what that acronym stands for, and I wish I knew it off the top of my head, I don't. However, the goal of that group was to talk about housing, childcare, and tourism, which I think are things that we're really concerned about currently, is figuring out those pieces. There are 2 tourism panel seats that will soon be open, and we would really love to find some community members to fill those spaces. So if you think of anybody you could get to join us, or anyone online, send them our way. The new LeadvilleTwinLakes.com website will be rolling out at the beginning of May, so it should have rolled out.
Live. It's pretty.
It's supposed to be user friendly, video forward, and loaded with new information. Public Works has got a few updates on the landfill. We are working very diligently to get the landfill onto the cloud. It's never been on the cloud, but we are experiencing some issues with being able to take payments until we get it onto the cloud. So this is very exciting for me, as getting it onto the cloud serves two purposes in that it can talk with Tyler, which is on the cloud. So it's just a lot of work in there, but very exciting to move us forward into our systems really working. They have got some staff training coming up on air burner, and their staff was able to attend a smoke school in Denver to be able to record opacity levels from the air burner, looking at air pollution control requirements. We are looking towards a meeting with CDPHE on solid waste division to think about the new landfill expansion and what that could look like. Public Works and Maintenance, they've been working between seasonal, putting snow equipment away and digging out all of the summer items. The community park field melted out by the end of March. And they were worried about the leader filled with ice on the grass. They're doing what they can to bring that grass back. From Road and Bridge, they're finishing up kind of with the seasonal change. They'll still have the snowplow available if needed, but are starting to switch over to summer operations. Their staff attended the APWA Spring Street Conference this year, which is held in Montrose. There are a lot of good topics covered, from the CDL and CMV requirements, from the state patrol to new equipment availability and new asphalting technology, which planning ahead for CDLs and being able to help people get their CDL is a big area that we're gonna work on in the next budget cycle.
The biggest problem is getting that CDL.
Yeah, so we wanna be able to support people getting their CDL with, you know, a buy-in back into staying with us. So we're working on that together with Public Works and HR to have a good program in place. Staff have opened Turquoise Lake for the season. This was completed over the last 2 weeks, and we started our summer road grading on the southern end of the county. From the library, we had some vandalism last year, and the court date for Clifford Mortensen was May 16th. That's been pushed out into June, well, extended again into June. There were some extenuating circumstances in that case. They're preparing for their summer reading program, which that's where I was at when I came in a few minutes late, doing a tour of the Creation Station and talking about their summer programs, which is really exciting to me. HR, we've got a new risk manager starting on May 27th, and we're super pumped to have that person to help us with insurance claims, to think smarter about mitigating risk before we're having to pay for claims or anything like that. Summer internships start in the beginning of June. HR is now running the payroll up to the finance piece where we push it out the door. That might not sound like that big of a change, but it's a huge change in terms of separation of duties for our finance team. So we're really excited to have a great process in place for the two pieces of getting payroll actually out the door. There were currently 11 full-time positions open when this update was done, but I think we might actually have a few more. Operations has got an IT ticketing system in place. In 2 weeks, 150 tickets have been received, so that's great, so we know where our needs are and where we need to focus our efforts. The Wildfire Resilience Fair was a success with around 50 attendees. And then last but not least, well, I shouldn't say last but not least, the finance update's in my head, so that'll be last. CSU Extension, they're promoting a free raised gardening kit program. And they'll be providing a limited number of raised beds, which I love that they're doing this project. I think food security is always a concern, and the ability to provide your own food is really important for people in our community. They are preparing for a summer science series with the library summer reading program. And they are working alongside the library to host a Using Native Plants to Attract Pollinators program, and that's gonna be June 28th. And then last but not least, the finance team has been working furiously towards finalized numbers being provided to the auditor to get our audit done. This is the most caught up the finance team has ever been. This is the most caught up AP has been in processing invoices and getting those expenditures to departments on time. Our P card purchases have dropped by around 20 to 30% some months, which is huge. So we've really worked to create better processes, better checks and balances, be more timely. We've closed pretty much fiscal year 2023 and got the audit done second month of employment in January. And then have gotten, I mean, you can't really close the next year till the previous year was closed. And then have gotten all of all of 2024 closed except for a few grants pieces. This is the first time we've really dug into our grants and made absolutely sure that every expense and revenue received for each grant, we are accounting for it grant by grant, which is a huge amount of work. If you see our finance people, tell them thank you, because they have really worked their rear ends off to get us here. That's all I have.
Well,
Thank you, Candace.
awesome, Candace.
That's a lot of good stuff. Did the summer reading program have a theme this year's?
I didn't get the thing from her this morning.
I'm
She
trying to
told
remember
me
Lisa
at the-
I was gonna say Lisa Robinson mentioned it at community coffee last week, I can't remember what the theme was,
I
sorry.
used to have so much fun with that program as a hoot.
I'm sorry, I've done her a disservice by not remembering the thing.
Oh, that's okay,
I'll
there's
find
so
out.
many details floating around out there, yeah, it's worth a digging into on our half. Cool.
Wow, I acknowledge that.
Fully acknowledged. Alright, moving on, consent agenda. Has everyone read through and
Yes.
feeling up to consenting
I
to?
move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, to a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda approved. A note for anyone attending, watching now, later. All packet materials for agenda items are available upon request at spedis@lakecountyco.gov. To subscribe to email or text notifications, please visit www.lakecountyco.gov/list.aspx. And with that, we will draw to a conclusion our regular meeting of Lake County Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, fellow commissioners, staff, everyone. We need to give an extra shout out to our finance department.
Mhm.
I get to,
We get to hang out again at 2.
yes.
Yep. And Public Works.
And Public Works.
Yes.